Okay, thanks for that introduction. My concerns are shared with curriculum directors throughout Cook County and the collar counties. On Friday, I presented this to a group of about 100 or so of my colleagues, and it was by no means non-unique. My concerns. One has to do, I have logistical concerns, educational concerns, and well-being concerns, and then financial concerns. So there are going to be multiple administrations of the PARCC exam. Right now, we've allotted 4 days to testing within a compressed time frame in the spring. We plan on testing 849 students enrolled in 2 algebra. By the way, students enrolled in 2 algebra include freshmen, sophomores, juniors, some seniors. We also are going to test our 3 English students, so our junior English classes, including AP Language and Composition, 3 English 2, and 3 English Honors. And so that makes sense. That's juniors, right? I mean, that kind of makes sense. But then again, for the 2 algebra, we're testing just about, kids across grade levels. So the cross grade level testing means that all instruction during those 4 days of PARCC testing will be significantly disrupted and will impact nearly all of our classes. We also aren't clear on what the manpower or woman power is to actually administer these tests, how many proctors need to be in the room. So there's another disruption, and if we're going to do that, then we are going to incur the cost for sub-coverage, which will be significant. But here's the real deal. The state has moved the ACT exam to March 3rd. And PARCC continues, the 4 administrations of the PARCC assessment will occur between that date, March 3rd, and the start of our AP exams. So what does that mean? Well, last year we had over 400 juniors take AP exams. Many of them took more than 1 exam. This means that a junior taking multiple AP classes stands to miss at least a week of instruction, 4 days to PARCC, 1 day to ACT. That's a week right there, right before they take the exam. And they also will miss, obviously, those AP testing dates. The well-being concern is one of testing fatigue and student well-being. Compressing ACT, PARCC, and AP within a 44-day window has the potential to result in a few things. One is lower ACT scores and lower AP results. Now, if the ACT counts for college admission and AP counts for college placement or credit, then what is the value of PARCC beyond 4 days of additional testing in the spring? So we really have to look at what that opportunity cost is. Illinois is spending $57 million on assessments this year. $57 million. And the PARCC test is neither valid nor reliable as a measure. And the reason for that is because it's never been given to a large population. So we're paying to have a private testing company norm their instrument on the backs of Illinois students. That's a big problem. So the other logistical concerns, let me just roll through them because, those are significant. The state has not been timely in this. In fact, it's September, might as well be October, and we still don't know specific requirements around the testing. We don't know what the proctoring requirements are. We don't know the exact windows for specific exams. For example, is it English 1 day and math another, or both on the same day? We don't know the regulations for what the room setup needs to be. We do know we will be giving these exams on a computer, unless, of course, your school is on a block schedule, in which case they were just notified that they will be taking those PARCC exams sometime in December with pen and paper. All of this is coming to us now. We submitted our school calendar back in the spring. This is extraordinarily disruptive to that process as well. To thoughtfully deploy standardized tests requires a significant amount of lead time. The calendar needs to be correct in the spring so parents and students know what to expect, and teachers. The implementation guidelines need to be secured, oftentimes a year ahead of time, so that we can prepare our accommodations for special education students and ELL students. Long term, high schools in Illinois do not know what tests will be administered in future years. We do know that PARCC has developed 2 English language arts tests, 1 English language arts test, a geometry test, and a 1 algebra test. But we don't know when we're giving those, if we're giving those, and I'll put it out there why we're giving those, because if we were going to gauge growth, we would have started with 1 algebra, English 1, would have went to geometry and English 2, and then up, so you could have followed freshmen, sophomore, juniors, but really we're doing that in reverse, so it makes no sense. There's no cohort there. So that's problematic. Finally, there's a matter of trust. When PARCC officials went to the Illinois Board of Higher Education, they stated that high schools were on board with PARCC testing. And when that same group came to high schools, they said, colleges are on board with this testing. Neither are on board. If colleges were on board, we would see the transition of the ACT to PARCC for admissions. That has not happened. It is not an admissions test yet. It doesn't mean that in 5 or 6 years it could be. But right now it is not. So there's a truthiness issue with what PARCC is telling folks in Illinois. And there's a significant lack of transparency in the process. Now here's what we will do. Should the state go along with PARCC, we will do our level best to ensure that it's a thoughtful test environment. But I can't help but be, normally I'm up here smiling, I can't help but be cynical about this. And one of the reasons is just on the accommodations front, I was, and I'll leave it at this. One of the accommodations, state-of-the-art accommodations, I went to a meeting on Saturday, just a couple days ago. I was told that one of the ELL, English Language Learner, accommodations approved by the state and PARCC is to read the directions slowly in English and at a higher volume. That's awful as an accommodation. So I am not the only educator that was at that table.
Really?
Really. Although I felt like it. It is actually, it is insulting.
It's like a cliche.
It is insulting. And that is an approved accommodation from the state. So I leave you with that anecdote because that encapsulates my frustration and the insensitivity of this testing model as it exists at the end of September and will be implemented pending legislative intervention. You know, if we don't get legislative intervention on this, we will be going ahead with this
Yes.
in the spring.